You're watching ABC 10 News at 6 o'clock. I'm Kimberly Hunt. If you were watching us on ABC 10, you just heard President Trump give an update on the war with Iran in a primetime address. The president said U.S. forces will, quote, finish the job in Iran soon, as core strategic objectives are nearing completion. Yesterday, the president said the U.S. will leave Iran in 2 to 3 weeks. Joining me now to discuss President Trump's address and the latest developments on the war with Iran is national security expert Ron B. Ron, thank you as always for joining us tonight to talk about his speech.
Good to be with you, Kimberly.
Let's start there. The president's saying that we're going to wrap this up very soon, 2 to 3 weeks. Does it seem that we could be that close?
Well, certainly the military objectives and the targeting that has been laid out for our air campaign, I think that's possible. However, the political target list is a little more unclear, isn't it, in terms of establishing a government that is democratic and non-Islamic to move forward. So that's the difficult part. We also still have the Strait of Hormuz question. The president has set a deadline of Monday, the 6th at 8 p.m. for that to be open, or else more military action will be taken against Iranian sites, and in particular energy sites. And this is very important because, as you know, gas prices have gone up and fertilizer prices have gone up, and inflation won't be far behind. And so this is on everybody's mind that we get the Strait of Hormuz open. Kharg Island is also an important strategic objective, whether or not we put an embargo on Iranian oil leaving that island, because 90% of Iranian oil comes through there, and that's how they make their money. Plus, they're making more money now because the price of oil has doubled per barrel. So this is pretty important.
Yeah, and the goals of destroying their ballistic missiles, their nuclear capability, destroying their Navy, what about those goals? How close are we?
Well, the Navy's gone, the Air Force is gone. We're still seeing ballistic missiles being fired at up to 12 different nations. However, not in the numbers that we saw at the beginning of the war. And the question remains, how many are left? That is a big question for military planners. But I think after another 2 weeks of military bombing by both Israel and the United States, that will be attrited even more. But the question is, if you're going to force open the strait, what sort of drone and missile activity can you expect from the 3 islands in the strait, plus the shoreline that can go as far as another 100 miles worth of territory? So there's still some major objectives that need to be accomplished. In particular, the one that we will be paying attention to over the next few days, Strait of Hormuz. We have planned for this for years upon years. We've been wargaming this for at least 40 years. So it's not that we can't do it. There are risks involved. We have forces that could be involved on the ground. But as you know, we're hesitant to do that if we can avoid it.
And the president does tend to negotiate in these comments that he makes. What do you think politically the realistic view of pulling out of NATO could be?
Oh, I think that was just an expression of frustration with the Europeans that didn't come around as quickly as he had hoped in support of opening the Strait of Hormuz. Now we have 30 nations, including NATO nations, that have agreed to come participate in that opening. So I think tensions there will settle down, even though there are real tensions between the Trump administration and NATO at the moment.
Right. Ron B., our national security expert, always appreciate your time and your expertise on these subjects. A lot to talk about.
Thanks for having me, and have a good evening.
You too. Thanks, Ron.